everybody. Today I wanted to do a video looking at the financial benefits of owning real estate versus investing your money in a 401k. With prices increasing, a lot of people had to decide whether it makes sense to take money and put it towards a down payment on a home versus just keeping that money in a 401k. We just released a new tool that shows the difference, so let's take a look at the numbers. On the spreadsheet here, we have a lot of information. As you can see at the top left, the annual rate of appreciation on average in the Indianapolis market for the last 10 years is 7.37% per year. Now, the average rate of return for the US stock market in that same period of time is 12.75%. You may be seeing I'm not a math genius, but I know that 12.75 is larger than 7.37, and you'd be correct. However, what real estate has that investing your money just in the stock market doesn't have is something we call leverage. Leverage refers to the use of debt to amplify return on an investment. So, by taking a smaller amount of money and partnering it with, say, a mortgage, for example, you can buy a bigger investment and reap the returns as that entire investment appreciates. You're getting the return on the entire value of the asset, not just the initial amount you invested. Let's take a look at this example. So if we have a $300,000 home, which, surprise, is the median sales price as of May here in Indianapolis, I will talk more about that here in a minute. Your initial investment would be $18,000, and we calculate this by using a 3.5% down FHA mortgage and also including things like closing costs. This does not include anything that you would need to maintain or update the property post-close. I do tell most of my clients typically that they can expect to spend anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 post-close on things like repairs that maybe were not done by the seller or any additional things that they may have decided they wanted to do with the home. I would say the only exception to this rule is probably if you build, but even if you build, there are things that necessarily builders don't include, like appliances or a water softener. So again, I would still ballpark 3,000 to 5,000 just to get the property where you would like it to be when you move in. So if we factor in that 7.37 appreciation rate, and listen, I say this all the time, average appreciation rate in the Indianapolis market is 3 to 4% a year. The reason why the last 10 years are above that is because we've seen what we're now calling the unicorn years of basically 2020 to 2022. We were seeing way more market appreciation. That has drastically skewed the average from the last 10 years. I would say this is probably best case scenario return on your investment, but we can play with the numbers a bit and take a look at that. So on a $300,000 house that you would purchase today, in 10 years, that home would be worth a little over $600,000. That would give you a return of almost $293,000. So let's compare that to that same initial investment and return in the stock market. Again, you have your initial investment of $18,000. Even with that higher rate of return, in 10 years, that account value is only going to be worth a little under $60,000. So comparing the return of the home and a 10-year return on the stock market, you're looking at a potential growth of over $250,000 more buying a home today versus taking that money and just putting it in an IRA or a 401k. So let's play a little bit of devil's advocate. We say we know that the real estate market is not going to appreciate over 7% every year. So let's take this down to an average of about 3% and see what the difference would be. Taking a look, even if the real estate market appreciates the bare minimum of 3% every year, you would still be over doubling your return on investment in a home purchase versus just putting that money into a 401k. I will also say the 12.7% from the last 10 years on the stock market is above average. The long-term historic average in the stock market is almost 10 to 11%. So even if the stock market overperforms and your real estate investment underperforms, because of leverage, you're actually going to accrue more money because you're gaining value on the total value of the home, not just your initial monetary investment. Obviously, there are a lot of other factors in play, and this isn't to be construed as financial advice. Everybody should be talking to their own financial advisor when they are considering purchasing a home, just so they can understand the implications of their own financial situation. I do also want to talk about what real estate prices are doing. We did get our numbers back for May, and if you follow me on social media, you saw I posted that about a couple weeks ago. It's kind of surprising, but also not really surprising. We are back to an all-time historic high for median prices here in Indianapolis, back up to 300,000. Based on this chart, you can see we did have a cooling off period at the end of 2022 and into 2023, but literally we are right back where we were this time last year. The only difference being that interest rates are much higher than they were this time last year. So that is cooling down the number of available sales and properties because frankly, people don't want to give up their 2 to 3% interest rate. That is completely understandable. The thing is, I think we have to realize that this is our new normal. Just as I said earlier, we are calling now the 2 years that were from 2020 to 2022 the unicorn years, where we were seeing massive price appreciation and historically low interest rates. The message here is we will probably not see the event like that happen again. There are a lot of factors at play, and for the most part, those factors have resolved themselves. We now find ourselves in a market that is extremely starved of inventory with interest rates that are hovering around 7%. Now, I will be completely honest, there's nothing I'm seeing that's going to change this anytime soon. I've been saying this for quite a while now. I know a lot of people are kind of on the fence on whether or not real estate is actually a good investment right now. Hopefully these numbers that I just showed you showed that you have a lot more potential to grow your money by investing in a home versus just putting it in the stock market and hoping that does well. Hopefully you found this information useful. If you have any questions, as always, my contact info is at the bottom of the screen. Thanks and talk to you soon.